Hello! I thought I'd just do this quick video because, as you might have seen from the title, I do sort of categorise the drums that I have here into sort of three classifications, and you've got everyday, fancy, and sort of really fancy. And whilst there's only really sort of a couple of really fancy ones, which I'll come to in a minute. These drums are everyday drums, and part of the reason why they're not in cases, part of the reasons why I've got them on this rack is because, you know, I mean, there's some expensive drums here but they're there to be played. They're all here to be played, really. But there's not a drum on this rack that I wouldn't happily go out and gig with if it was the right drum for that night. And obviously there's a variation. You've got the old sort of Luddy stuff at the bottom there. You've got the artist drums here. You've got the newer Yamaha and Tamas over there. And then you've got the Spawn stuff as well, which is obviously quite sort of relatively new as well. But there's nothing there that is hugely expensive. In fact, that is the most expensive snare drum I think in this entire rack. And and even that I've taken out and gigged with recently. So, I mean, obviously it is all relative. I mean, that was 600 and something quid when I bought it. These are all 400 quid when I bought them a long time ago. But the thing is obviously it's still expensive. It's expensive to me now. It was expensive then, but in relative terms, it's not expensive compared to some of this lot, which obviously is really sort of speaks for itself, doesn't it? A lot of you have probably seen some of the videos that I've done on these drums. As I said, they kind of speak for themselves. They're mostly either limited edition or one-offs, or just stuff that you wouldn't really want to take down the local pub to gig, and that's fine. The band I'm in tends to know the gigs that it does in terms of venues and stuff, and I know most of them as well these days because the band's been going for sort of about 7 or 8 years, so. And I've not been in it for quite that length of time, but generally I know what type of venue we're going to. I know if it's appropriate to take one of those, or I could possibly treat myself and take one of those. Obviously, it doesn't just include the Craviotto stuff. You've got the Star Walnut stuff as well. You've got like this one here, the Donette Ancient Carry. And then you've got some of the other more sort of rare Tama stuff, like the one that's in there, the Bubinga Cordia. But then you've got other drums like the ones in here, the Tamas in here, which are the sort of, again, the everyday stuff. Okay, they've been boxed, but it's mainly because I ran out of rack space more than anything else. And then with I suppose the kits fall into this as well. So you've got, I'll just stick the head round there. So that's the Star Walnut kit set up there, which I know I haven't really mentioned at all. I've done a couple of photos on Facebook, but that's about it. But so that's the Star Walnut kit. That would go into the that would probably go into the somewhere between fancy and very fancy sort of categories, I suppose. The same with the Craviotto. You've got the Tama Bubinga. Where are we? There. Sorry, I'm doing this on my phone and it's catching me out. So yeah, you got the Bubinga up there as well. That would sort of fall into the sort of very fancy sort of range as well, and that sort of stuff. I'm quite happy to take it out and play it, but it has to be at the right sort of venue. I've got a big gig coming up in December. I'll probably take either the Bubinga or the Walnuts. The last couple of years when we've done that gig, I've taken the Craviotto, and it's been sort of perfectly okay and safe to do that. But generally, for the most part, that's the sort of drum kit that I'm either going to play in here or keep for recording. And same band's got, in fact, a couple of weeks after we're doing that big gig, in a few months' time, we're then going to be recording. And I think I'm probably going to take the Walnut kit out with me, so that'll be a nice outing for that. But So that's a sort of fancy to really fancy, I think. And then the actual really fancy stuff that I was talking about, you've got that there. You've got the Craviotto 10th anniversary drum, and you've got like the AK Triumphal as well. Mainly because in monetary terms, they're worth more. I suppose actually the Timeless Timbers as well, and I think possibly as well the original AK Craviotto Diamond series. I think I'd probably put those in that bracket as well, and that's just as much really for the actual physical material, green value of it. But I do take all this stuff out and play it, and that's actually the important thing. But it's just really on where I see all this stuff in terms of taking it out of the house and using it. It is all there to be used, as I said, but it's that stuff really. That's the stuff I gig with most of the time, because if it gets knocked, it's not the end of the world, and I'm not going to come home crying. So anyway, I hope that was sort of fairly interesting. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.